You know that moment you're sitting in a meeting, someone pitches an idea, it sounds familiar, really familiar, because you said it 3 weeks ago in an email, in a one-on-one, in a Slack thread that apparently nobody read. And it's now their idea. They're getting the nod. And you're sitting there thinking, did that really just happen again? I know you've been there. I've been there too. Here's what nobody tells you about being a high-performing woman in corporate life. Doing great work is the entry fee. It gets you in the door, but it doesn't get you the recognition, the promotion, or the influence you've earned. We've all heard it. Let your work speak for itself. And we believed it. Most of us were raised on it. Keep your head down, produce results, and somebody will notice. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Your work can't speak. It doesn't go to meetings. It doesn't advocate for you in the room where decisions are being made about who gets the next opportunity. You have to do that, not your work, you. And you know, the second I say that, your stomach tightens a little. Because the word for that in most corporate cultures, it's office politics. And office politics feels gross. It feels like the loudest person wins. It feels like those who have drinks win. It feels like schmoozing, manipulating, or becoming someone you don't want to be. If that's what office politics is, I don't want it either. But what if office politics is actually just relationships? Intentional relationships, strategic visibility, making sure the right people know what you're capable of, not because you're bragging, but because you're simply giving them the information they need to make good decisions about you. That's what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to give you 4 tactics, tactical, concrete, start this week type of things that will help you get the credit you already earned without becoming someone you don't recognize in the mirror. You have more power to impact this than you think. So let's get into it. Before we get to the tactics, let's name the problem, because understanding why this happens is the first step in not taking it personally. And I need you not to take it personally. There are 2 invisible forces working against high-achieving women in the workplace. The first is what researchers call the likability bind. As a woman, if you're competent, you're often seen as less likable. If you're likable, you're often seen as less competent. It's a double bind that men simply don't face, or at least not to the same degree. What this means in practice is you're cautious about promoting your own work because you've internalized, probably unconsciously, that self-promotion might make you seem arrogant or pushy or difficult. So you hold back, and holding back costs you visibility. The second force is what I call the attribution gap. When a man succeeds, people tend to attribute it to his skill and his ability. When a woman succeeds, people are more likely to attribute it to luck or the help from others or just working hard, but not necessarily being good. Think about what that means. You can work just as hard, produce just as much, and the story people tell about why you succeeded is different. And that story determines who gets tapped for the next opportunity. So when I say you need to be more visible, I'm not saying you haven't been doing enough. I'm saying the playing field isn't level, and waiting for someone to notice your work on its own isn't a strategy. It's a hope, and hope is not a strategy. Let's build a strategy together. Tactic 1. And this one alone could change your career. It's embarrassingly simple and it costs nothing, and almost nobody does it. It's called the monthly brag bag. And here's what it is. At the end of every month, you write down 3 to 5 things you accomplished, wins, big or small, a project that moved forward, a problem you solved, positive feedback someone gave you, a meeting that you led well, and you keep this running document. Google Doc, Notion, whatever works for you. Now, and this is the part that most people skip, at the end of the quarter, you pull the highlights and share them with your manager. Not in a, look at me, I'm amazing kind of way, but in a, here's what I've been focused on and the impact that it's had way. Think about what this actually does. First, it solves the memory problem. Your manager has their own work. They're not tracking your wins. 3 months from now, they'll remember about 10% of what you did. The brag bag fills in the other 90%. Second, it solves your memory problem. When performance review season comes around, you're not scrambling to remember what you did in February. It's already written down. And third, and this is the part I really want you to hear, it changes how you think about yourself. Most of us end the week thinking about what we didn't get done. The 3 emails we still owe, the project that's behind, the thing that we dropped. The brag document trains your brain to see what you did do, what moved forward, what went well. Over time, that changes your internal narrative from I'm always falling behind to I'm consistently delivering results. And that confidence, it shows up in how you carry yourself in meetings, in negotiations, and how you talk about your work. 1 document, 5 minutes at the end of each month. Start it today. Tactic 2. This one addresses a specific moment, your weekly or bi-weekly one-on-one with your manager. Most of us walk into these meetings and treat them like a status update. Here's what I'm working on, here's what's blocked, here's what's next. That's necessary, but it's not sufficient. A status update makes you a good direct report. It doesn't make you visible as a leader. I want to give you a simple script. 3 sentences you add to the end of every one-on-one. Ready? Sentence 1. One thing I'm particularly proud of this week is. Sentence 2. The impact of this was. And sentence 3. And here's what I learned from it or what I want to build on next. That's it. 3 sentences, 60 seconds. But look at what it does. It frames your work in terms of impact, not just activity. It demonstrates self-awareness and learning. 2 things that signal leadership potential. And it does it without a hint of bragging, because you're not saying I'm great. You're saying, here's what I did, here's what it meant, here's what I'm doing with it. That's not self-promotion, that's professional communication. I want you to try this in your very next one-on-one. I promise you, your manager will not think, wow, she's bragging. They'll think, wow, she's strategic. Tactic 3 is my favorite because it's completely counterintuitive. I call it borrowed credit. And here's the idea. The fastest way to build your own visibility is to amplify someone else. Let me give you an example. You're in a meeting. A colleague, maybe a junior colleague, maybe a peer says something smart. It doesn't get the reaction it deserves. People move on. You speak up and say, I want to come back to what Sarah just said. I think that's exactly the direction we should be moving in. What just happened there? Sarah looks good and you look generous. And here's the part that people miss. You also look like a leader because leaders elevate others. Leaders see the bigger picture. Leaders don't need to be the source of every good idea. That's borrowed credit. You're building relationship currency by giving credit to someone else. Over time, you become known as the person who makes the team feel better, not just the person who does their own work well. The other version of this, publicly thank someone who helped you. I want to acknowledge that Maria pulled together the data for this presentation. It wouldn't have happened without her. Again, generosity. Again, leadership signal. Again, relationship currency deposited in your account. Here's the psychology. When you amplify others, 2 things happen. 1, the person you amplified feels loyalty and goodwill towards you, and they'll look for opportunities to return it. 2, observers see you confident enough to share the spotlight. And confident people get promoted. You see the difference? You're not taking credit, you're multiplying it. Tactic 4. And this is the most strategic, and I speak from experience here. I want you to create a strategic relationship map. Here's how it works. Take a piece of paper or open a fresh document. Draw 3 columns. Column 1, the people who directly influence your career trajectory. Your manager, your skip level manager, key stakeholders on projects you want to be on. Column 2, the people who have information you need. The ones who know what's coming before it's announced. Reorgs, new initiatives, leadership changes. These are often people in HR operations or executive assistants, people who are sometimes overlooked. In column 3, people who have perspective you value. That could be mentors, peers in different departments, someone who's been at the company for 15 years and understands the unwritten rules. Now, for each person, ask yourself 2 questions. Question 1, when was the last time I had a meaningful interaction with this person? Not a status update, not a transactional email, but a real conversation. Question 2, is the balance of this relationship healthy? Meaning, am I only reaching out when I need something, or am I also offering value? What you'll probably found, and I found this too, is that you've been neglecting column 2 and column 3. You're in constant contact with your immediate chain of command, but you've let the broader web of relationships go dormant. That dormancy is costing you, because here's what those broader relationships give you: early information, context, the heads up that lets you position yourself before an opportunity is even announced. And here's what I want you to hear, because I know that this might feel uncomfortable. This is not manipulation. This is not playing the game. This is the same thing men have been doing for decades. Grabbing coffee, playing golf, building bonds that also happen to be career advancing. The difference is they don't call it office politics, they call it networking. So build your map. Identify 2 or 3 people you want to reconnect with. Send the email, schedule the coffee. It doesn't have to be a big thing, it just has to be intentional. And let me bring this home. 4 tactics: the monthly bread bag, the one-on-one visibility script, borrowed credit, the strategic relationship map. None of these require you to become someone else. None of them require you to be the loudest person in the room, or to play games, or to compromise who you are and your values. What they require is intention, the decision to stop waiting to be noticed and to start taking ownership of your visibility. The credit you're not getting, it's not because your work isn't good enough. It's not because you're not talented enough. It's because no one handed you the rule book for this part of the game. But now you have it. Your challenge, and I mean this, your 3-win challenge. Open a document right now. Write down 3 things you've accomplished this quarter that your manager probably doesn't know about. Just 3. It'll take you 5 minutes, not more. And then drop one of them in the comments. I'll read every one of them. I want to celebrate your win with you, because you are doing the work. Now let's make sure you get the credit. And if you're interested in a personalized strategy to navigate your career, click below to book a one-on-one clarity call with me. You'd be surprised at how much we can accomplish in a half hour. See you in the next one.